Clay soil is honestly one of the biggest frustrations gardeners face. It bakes into hard clumps in the summer, turns sticky in the rain and drains so poorly that roots just suffocate. For years, gardeners have relied on endless digging and even double digging, hoping to loosen it up a bit. But, there is a better way, one that doesn't require breaking your back with a shovel. It's all about letting natural forces do the work for you while you guide the process with the right materials layered in the right way. Why digging clay soil rarely works long term. When you dig or till clay soil, you may get a bit of temporary fluffiness, but those fine particles quickly settle back into a dense mass. The structure just collapses after a few rains, leaving you right where you started. What clay really needs isn't constant digging, but better structure, organic matter and biology working together to open up air pockets, improve drainage, and create a soil crumb that resists compaction. Once the soil has a living structure, roots and worms can move freely, and you don't have to dig it over and over again. How layering works better than digging. The trick is, layering organic material right on top of the clay and letting worms, microbes and fungi carry it downward naturally. Instead of fighting the soil, you feed the life within it and they become your workforce. A simple way to begin is by laying down a sheet of plain cardboard directly on top of your clay bed. The cardboard acts as a barrier that smothers weeds and starts to soften the soil beneath as it holds moisture. On top of the cardboard, spread a mix of green and brown organic matter. Grass clippings, chopped leaves, old straw or shredded garden waste. A good starting ratio is 2 parts brown material to 1 part green material. For example, you could lay down a wheelbarrow full of leaves and then cover it with half a barrow of fresh clippings. Now, to really accelerate the process, you'll want to add some soil builders. To push things further, just add a thin layer of compost, even if it's not quite finished yet. Honestly, 1 or 2 inches spread over the mulch is more than enough. You don't need heaps of the stuff. Just a light dusting will seed the system with all the right microbes. If you happen to have access to manure, a single bucket spread across a square metre is plenty. No need to overdo it. And then just water it all in so it begins to settle and interact with the soil life below. This moisture, combined with those lovely organic layers, encourages fungi to send their threads down through the cardboard and right into the clay. They'll break it apart and build up humus as they go, which is exactly what we're after. Let me share a few examples of how this plays out in a real garden. So, in a garden bed that started out as pure clay, just one season of this method made a noticeable difference. After laying down cardboard and layering on leaves, clippings and a thin compost cap, worms began tunnelling up within weeks, and by the following spring the cardboard was nearly gone, and that once solid clay had broken into smaller crumbs. It's a proper transformation, I'll say. Root crops that had struggled before, like carrots and beets, began to push downward. In another example, a gardener used wood chips and grass in alternating layers about 4 inches deep, watered them well, and by the next season could sink a hand into soil that had previously been too hard to even push a trowel into. Right then, here are some practical steps and ratios you can try at home. Start by mowing or trimming whatever vegetation is on the clay patch, just to get things tidy. Next, lay 1 flat layer of cardboard over the soil, making sure to overlap the edges by at least 6 inches so weeds can't slip through. After that, add a 4-inch layer of browns like dry leaves, straw, or even shredded paper if that's what you've got handy. On top of that, sprinkle a 2-inch layer of greens such as grass clippings or kitchen scraps. If you've got compost, add 1 inch on top of everything else. Finally, water it down until it feels damp. Think of a wrung-out sponge, not soaking wet. Within a few months you'll notice worms moving in, and the clay will start breaking into friable soil without you ever having to lift a fork. It's a bit of magic, really. Now let's talk about why patience pays off more than digging ever will. This method isn't about instant gratification. Clay soil doesn't transform overnight, not by a long shot, but while digging only gives you short-term fluff, layering builds permanent structure. Once you've done it for 1 or 2 seasons, the soil will stay open, easier to plant, and healthier for years to come. And best of all, you've saved your back the punishment of constant digging, because the soil organisms have done the real work for you. So, clay soil can be turned from a nightmare into a living, workable base by simply stepping aside and letting nature carry the load. All it takes is the right layering method, consistent moisture, and, well, a bit of patience. If this guide has given you a simpler way to handle heavy soil, make sure to subscribe to Soil Doctor for more practical gardening solutions, and share this video with other gardeners who are tired of fighting their soil the hard way.